All right, Larry Krueger from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show here with a video as we talk a little bit about the NFL playoffs, a little recap of Chiefs Texans and what a game that it was. Of course, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the two locations, Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. Go say hi to Damon and Mary. Get some brisket chili. Pig and a Pickle. You're going to love the best barbecue in all of Northern California. And this video brought to you by Better, sponsored by Better, the official daily fantasy sponsor of the Krug Show. Use Better to make daily fantasy lineups and win real money. Download the app below. Make sure you use the promo code Niners to get your first deposit matched up to $200. Everyone who does automatically is entered into a drawing to win a free signed Ricky Pearsall number 14 red 49er jersey. We'll give it away on Super Bowl Sunday. All right. Let's talk a little bit about the Chiefs and the Texans. The first playoff game goes to the Chiefs. Kansas City has now made 7 straight AFC title game appearances. They get a win 23-14 over the Houston Texans. The number 1 seed in the AFC is moving on to the conference title game, and they'll face the Baltimore Buffalo winner at Arrowhead next Sunday. Andy Reid's win number 300. Houston actually had a 336 to 212 yardage edge in the game, but Kansas City had 8 sacks of C.J. Stroud, 3 from George Karlaftis. Charles Omenihu was in the mix, but Karlaftis had 3 sacks. Kansas City had 14 hits on C.J. Stroud. And this is really a problem for the Texans and D'Amico to address in the offseason. Houston's got to address their offensive line. I mean, it's simple as that. C.J. Stroud was sacked 63 times this year. 63. Some of them are on him, but a lot of them are on his line. They've got to improve their line. But, Houston outrushed Kansas City in this game. Houston ran for 5-1 a carry, and they held Kansas City down. This was the exception to the rule. Generally in the playoffs, if you run the ball, the team that runs the ball and stops the run wins the game. Not in this game. Houston outrushed Kansas City 149-50. Houston 5.1 a carry. Kansas City 2.3 a carry. And yet Kansas City won the game. Why? Well, a couple reasons. Kansas City was better in the red zone, especially in the first half. Also, Houston had 8 penalties. 8 penalties. That's a lot of mistakes. Houston, though, dominated the time of possession. They held the ball for almost 34 minutes to 26 for Kansas City. And Will Anderson had a couple sacks on Houston's front line. Will Anderson is an absolute beast. But, Kansas City has got guys who have been there before, and they just know exactly what it takes to get it done. Kareem Hunt, really, really good pickup for Kansas City. 8 carries, 44 yards, 5.5 a carry for Kareem Hunt. He was really good. Travis Kelce is a money player. And the money was on the table today, and sure enough, there he rose up to the occasion. 7 catches for 117 yards. Big day for Kelce. Every time Mahomes needed a big play, there was Travis Kelce. And I said it last week. I said, you know what? Houston with Kamari Lassiter and with Stingley Jr. have 2 real great number 1 shut you down kind of corners, and they were going to do a nice job against Kansas City's receivers. Kansas City's receivers were not going to dominate this game because Houston's got really, really good corners. And look at Kansas City's receivers. Xavier Worthy caught 5 balls for 45 yards, but Hopkins, nothing. Juju Smith-Schuster, nothing. Hollywood Brown, nothing. I mean, Worthy was the only receiver that did anything outside of the tight end. So, Houston's got really, really good corners, and it was going to be up to Mahomes and Kelce and their run game, and they ran it well enough. I mean, Kareem Hunt had 44 yards. Pacheco had 5 carries for 18 yards. Mahomes himself ran 7 times. They did just enough in the run game. And then they got after the quarterback. Karlaftis is emerging as a fantastic player. He really is. And by the way, the internet broke because Caitlin Clark was up in the booth with Taylor Swift, and they probably showed the duo about 4 times, or 4 or 5 times at least that I saw. And probably the two most popular women in the world with young girls are Caitlin Clark and Taylor Swift, and they were sitting together. Oh my God! For Mahomes, it was his 16th playoff victory. 16 playoff victories for Patrick Mahomes, tying, you know who, Joe Montana for the second most all time. Mahomes just keeps doing his thing, and Mahomes and Reed in the playoffs at home, nearly unbeatable. 11 wins and 2 losses. So they are headed to the AFC title game for the 7th consecutive year. It kind of makes you sick. It really does when you think about it. 7 straight years for the Chiefs in the AFC title game. I mean, they literally are there every single year. And you got to give it up to Mahomes. I mean, he didn't throw for tons of yards today. He was 16 of 25 for 177. Some of his passes were downright ugly, but he doesn't turn it over. He was sacked 3 times. He had the one touchdown pass, but he had 0 interceptions. Didn't turn it over. It's really, football and so much winning football in the playoffs is so much about making plays, but it's also about minimizing negative plays. And Mahomes gets it. Brady mastered it for years and years. Take the sacks, throw it away if you have to. Don't, try to avoid sacks, of course, but definitely avoid turnovers. Don't, the sack fumble is the biggest nightmare you can have. So hold on to the football. And Mahomes does that. He fumbled once in this game, but he recovered it. So, Justin Reed had 7 tackles. He took a rough hit, by the way, as well, late, but he walked off the field. But Karlaftis is coming on. Nick Bolton had 5 tackles. Charles Omenihu, the former Niner, had 4 tackles and a sack and a hit on the quarterback. Chris Jones, it wouldn't be a playoff game if Chris Jones didn't have 2 hits on the quarterback. Tershawn Wharton had 2 hits on the quarterback. I mean, that you want to say where did Kansas City win this game? They bothered C.J. Stroud and they hit him 14 times. And even though Stroud didn't wither, he was 19 of 28 for 245, but he didn't throw a single touchdown. Didn't throw a touchdown pass. Mixon had a really nice day running it, 18 for 88 yards, almost 5 yards a carry. Stroud ran when he needed to. He ran for 42 yards. He had a 28-yard run in this thing. But they kept Nico Collins out of the end zone, Dalton Schultz out of the end zone. Their receivers didn't get in the end zone, were pretty muted. Wasn't a massive performance there. Azeez Al-Shaair had 6 tackles. As I said, Will Anderson had a couple hits on the quarterback, and they did get 8 hits on Mahomes. It wasn't like they didn't hit him. They sacked him 3 times, and hit him a total of 8. But at the end of the day, if you look at the Kansas City Chiefs, they don't make mistakes. Texans had more first downs, 18-14. Texans had way more yards, 336 to 212. Texans outrushed them 149-50, but the Texans also made 8 penalties, twice as many as Kansas City. And if you look at the red zone, the money red zone, Kansas City got to the red zone 5 times, and they scored twice. They were 2 for 5 on the red zone, where Houston only got to the red zone 3 times all day, and they were only successful once. And that was the difference. I mean, it's amazing. Kansas City was 4 of 11 on third downs. It wasn't like they were great on third downs. Houston actually had success on third downs. They were 10 for 17. It wasn't bad. So it was a cold day in Kansas City. I'll say this. I love the fact that I had the teaser with the Chiefs -1.5 and the under. The under was the play today for sure. It was cold. I like the over tonight in the night game between Washington and Detroit. But there you go. Kansas City, perfect at home all year. And the road to the Super Bowl in the AFC continues to roll through Arrowhead Stadium. Huge win for Kansas City, and they are back in the conference title game once again. All right, thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to Better for sponsoring this video. Thanks to all of you guys for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.